Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Jefferson nickel coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into the world of one of the most fascinating coins ever minted, the United States of America 5-cent coin from 1989. This seemingly humble coin has a rich history, a beautiful design, and, believe it or not, could be worth a small fortune today. Stick with us until the end to uncover just how much this little gem could be worth, and you might be surprised by its value. The United States 5-cent coin from 1989, also known as the nickel, is a fascinating piece of American history. While most people think of it simply as a common coin, it carries with it a wealth of historical significance. At the time it was minted, the United States was experiencing economic stability after the turbulence of the 1970s. The country was in the midst of the Reagan era, a period marked by significant political changes and a growing sense of optimism in the air. The nickel had been in circulation in America for nearly 100 years by the time 1989 rolled around. It was first introduced in 1866, following the Civil War, and has gone through various changes in design over the years. The 1989 nickel was part of a broader trend of maintaining the same classic design while incorporating small updates to keep the coin fresh and in line with the times. Though it may seem like a routine issue, it was actually produced during an era of significant change for the country and the coinage system. What makes the 1989 nickel so intriguing, though, is not just its history but its design. On the obverse, we find the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States. This iconic image has graced the nickel since 1938, and its continuation into 1989 symbolized a sense of tradition and continuity in American coinage. The likeness of Jefferson on the coin was based on the famous painting by artist Rembrandt Peale, and it represents a deep respect for the founding principles of the nation. But what makes the 1989 nickel special is the reverse design. The reverse side features the Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson, in all its architectural glory. The Monticello is one of the most famous and recognizable buildings in American history, and it serves as a fitting tribute to Jefferson's legacy. The building was designed by Jefferson himself and stands as a symbol of his vision for the country, a vision rooted in Enlightenment ideals and a commitment to individual liberty. Over the years, the reverse design of the nickel has been updated slightly to reflect changes in American society, but in 1989, it remained largely unchanged from the earlier versions. The Monticello on the reverse is an image of stability and continuity, much like the coin itself. However, what many collectors don't realize is that while most of the 1989 nickels were produced in large numbers, a very small percentage were struck with certain characteristics that make them far more valuable today. Now, let's get into the minting details. In 1989, the United States Mint produced these nickels at two locations, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The coins were made from a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gives them their characteristic appearance and durability. The total mintage for the 1989 5-cent coin was over $1 billion, making it not particularly rare in terms of the number produced. However, as is often the case with coins, it's not just the rarity that determines value, it's also the condition. Most of the 1989 nickels you'll find today are in relatively poor condition, having passed through countless hands and wallets over the years. These coins show signs of wear, with the details of the design becoming worn down, and the edges may be slightly rounded or damaged. The real value, however, lies in the well-preserved examples that were never circulated. If you happen to have an uncirculated 1989 nickel, you could be sitting on something quite valuable, and here's where things get really interesting. Some 1989 nickels were struck with minting errors that make them even more valuable. These errors could include anything from misaligned designs to double striking, where the die hits the coin multiple times. These mistakes, though small and often unnoticed at the time, can create a unique and highly collectible piece. In fact, these error coins can sometimes be worth much more than a standard nickel, potentially turning what seems like a common coin into a treasure. For collectors, finding a pristine, uncirculated 1989 nickel or a rare minting error can be a game changer. Coins in excellent condition can command a premium price, especially if they have been preserved in ways that protect their original details. Many collectors specialize in seeking out coins like this, hoping to uncover a hidden gem that might be worth much more than face value. But now, let's talk about the big reveal, the value of a 1989 nickel today. If you have an uncirculated 1989 nickel, or perhaps one with a minting error, it could be worth a staggering $49,000. That's right, $49,000 for a coin that originally had a face value of just 5 cents. It's incredible to think that something so small could hold such immense value. So, if you have any 1989 nickels in your collection, or you come across one in your change, take a closer look. You could be holding onto a coin that is much more valuable than you realize. Coins like these remind us that the world of numismatics is full of surprises, and sometimes the most unassuming coins are the ones that hold the greatest worth. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the 1989 United States 5-cent coin. It's a perfect example of how a coin's value isn't just about its age or rarity, but also its condition and the potential for rare minting errors. If you have any 1989 nickels in your possession, you might want to check their condition closely. You never know when you'll discover a hidden treasure. Top 2. We're diving into the fascinating world of the United States 5-cent coin from 1990. This may seem like a simple, everyday coin, but trust me, it has a history, design, and potential that could surprise you. Stick around, because by the end of this video, we're going to reveal just how much this seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece could be worth today. It might be worth more than you think. The year 1990 holds special significance in the history of American coinage, as it marked another chapter in the long legacy of the 5-cent coin, better known as the nickel. While the 5-cent coin itself dates back to the 19th century, the version minted in 1990 was part of a long-standing tradition and continued to carry a deep connection to American history. By the time this coin was minted, the United States was in the midst of a transformative period. It was the end of the Cold War, and the country was transitioning into a new decade. The economy was seeing growth, and the political landscape was shifting as George H.W. Bush served as president. But it was also a time when coins were becoming more modern, with subtle changes in design, technology, and production methods. Although the coin you hold in your hand today might just seem like a regular nickel, it is, in fact, part of a much deeper historical context. The 1995 cent coin was produced during an era of economic prosperity, marking a unique moment in time. The nickel, like many other coins, had undergone several changes over the years, but the version of the 1990 nickel we're looking at today stayed relatively consistent with the design that had been in circulation for decades. The design of the 1990 nickel features two key elements that have become iconic in American numismatics. On the obverse side, you'll see the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States. This image has graced the nickel for decades, since 1938, and has become one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. The design itself was based on a famous portrait by artist Rembrandt Peale, and it conveys Jefferson's intellect, strength, and pivotal role in the founding of the nation. Jefferson is shown in profile, a thoughtful expression on his face, and this image carries a deep sense of historical reverence. On the reverse side of the 1990 nickel, we find the image of Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson. Monticello is more than just a building, it represents Jefferson's vision for the new nation. The architectural beauty and design of Monticello is an enduring symbol of American history, and its inclusion on the nickel underscores the importance of Jefferson's contributions. Monticello, designed by Jefferson himself, remains one of the most iconic buildings in the United States, and its image on the coin reflects the nation's admiration for the founding fathers' legacy. While the design of the 1990 nickel stayed largely the same as previous years, there were still some significant changes in terms of the minting process and coin production. The United States Mint, responsible for creating the coin, continued to utilize advancements in technology, which meant that more precise and detailed designs could be achieved. The nickel was struck using a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gave the coin its signature appearance and durability. The total mintage of the 1990 nickel was fairly high, with over 1 billion of these coins produced. As a result, the 1990 nickel was not a particularly rare coin when it was first released. However, over time, the number of well-preserved, uncirculated examples of the 1995-cent coin has diminished. Most of these coins were used in daily transactions, passed from hand to hand, and over the years, many have accumulated wear and tear. When a coin is in constant circulation, its details become worn, its edges become rounded, and its surface may acquire scratches or discoloration. This means that finding a 1990 nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition is increasingly rare, and coins in excellent condition are highly sought after by collectors, but the rarity and value of the 1990 nickel doesn't stop there. As with many coins, there are certain versions of the 1990 nickel that have been minted with errors or unique characteristics. Minting errors, such as misaligned strikes or double strikes, are relatively common, and collectors place a premium on these coins. These errors can make a seemingly common coin incredibly valuable, turning a nickel worth 5 cents into a rare treasure. For example, a double strike error can result in a coin with 2 impressions of the design, making it an intriguing and highly collectible piece for numismatists. Some 1990 nickels also exhibit other characteristics, such as slight variations in the design or inconsistencies in the metal composition. These minor errors, though often subtle, can make a coin unique, and collectors are always on the lookout for coins that stand out from the rest. If you happen to have one of these error coins, you could be holding onto something worth much more than a typical 5-cent piece. So, what is the true value of a 1990 nickel today? While most of these coins are worth only their face value of 5 cents, a well-preserved uncirculated example could fetch a premium price. But the real jackpot lies in error coins or those in pristine condition. If you have an uncirculated 1990 nickel, or better yet, one with a minting error, you could be in for a real surprise. Believe it or not, a rare, uncirculated 1990 nickel with the right characteristics or a unique minting error could be worth an astounding $43,000. Yes, you heard that right, $43,000 for a coin that originally had a face value of just 5 cents. It's a remarkable example of how rarity, condition, and unique features can dramatically increase the value of a coin. So, the next time you're going through your coin collection or you come across a 1990 nickel in your spare change, take a closer look. You never know, you might be holding a small fortune in your hands. The world of numismatics is full of surprises, and sometimes, the most ordinary-looking coins can turn out to be hidden treasures. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the 1990 United States 5-cent coin, and we encourage you to keep an eye out for these rare finds. Top 3. We're diving deep into the history and value of a coin that might just be hiding in your collection or possibly among the loose change you have lying around, the United States 5-cent coin from 1985. This little nickel is much more than just 5 cents. Its journey through history, its iconic design, and its rare value today make it a fascinating piece of American currency. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll learn how much this humble coin could be worth now. Trust me, it'll surprise you. Let's take a moment to understand the historical context of this coin. The 1985 5-cent piece, also known as the nickel, was minted during a particularly interesting time in American history. The 1980s were a decade of change in the United States. Politically, the country was navigating the Reagan administration, which ushered in significant shifts in both domestic and foreign policy. Economically, the country was experiencing growth after a brief recession at the beginning of the decade. Socially, the 1980s was a time of vibrant culture, with everything from music to fashion to technology reflecting this era of boldness and innovation. The nickel, like most American coins, had been around for a long time by 1985, with a rich history dating back to the mid-19th century. The 1985 nickel was part of a long-standing tradition, but it also represented a continuation of the American fascination with its founding figures and national symbols. The 1985 design of the coin wasn't drastically different from the versions that had come before it, but like many coins in circulation during the time, it carried a sense of continuity with its earlier designs. In terms of design, the 1985 nickel was still following the classic design that had been in circulation since 1938, which featured a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States. Jefferson's image was based on a portrait by artist Rembrandt Peale and has become one of the most recognizable representations of any U.S. president. The use of Jefferson's image on the nickel was symbolic of the nation's deep respect for the ideals of liberty, democracy, and individual rights that Jefferson championed. The portrait itself is a striking and thoughtful depiction of a founding father who shaped the course of the United States. On the reverse side of the 1985 nickel, we find Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson, which has been part of the design since the coin's first introduction in 1938. Monticello is more than just a building, it's a representation of Jefferson's architectural genius, his vision for the new nation, and his commitment to the ideals of the Enlightenment. The image of Monticello on the coin is instantly recognizable, and it represents the ongoing connection between the nation's government and its historical roots. The 1985 nickel, like most coins, was minted in large quantities, but it was made using a relatively small number of variations. The U.S. Mint produced the coin at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, and both versions are nearly identical in design. The coin was made from a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it its characteristic appearance and durability. The U.S. Mint produced over 1 billion 1985 nickels that year, so finding one in circulation today is not unusual. However, most of these coins are in well-worn condition, which means the truly valuable pieces are those that have remained in excellent or uncirculated condition. Most of the 1985 nickels you encounter will show signs of wear. They've passed through countless hands, been through machines, and been exposed to the elements. As a result, they often have scratches, discoloration, or worn details. But this is precisely why finding a well-preserved, uncirculated example is so special and valuable. Coins in pristine condition can be worth much more than their face value, and collectors will pay a premium for coins that are free from damage or heavy circulation marks. But there's another important factor to consider when discussing the value of the 1985 nickel: minting errors. Like many coins, some 1985 nickels were struck with errors or inconsistencies during the minting process. These errors are highly sought after by collectors, as they make the coin unique and rare. For example, a double strike error, where the coin is struck twice by the die, can result in a coin that features multiple impressions of the design. Such errors are rare and make a coin much more desirable to collectors who specialize in finding and acquiring rare minting mistakes. Other types of errors that can make a 1985 nickel valuable include misaligned designs, where the images on the coin don't align properly, or off-center strikes, where the design is only partially visible. These errors can drastically change the appearance of the coin and make it stand out in a collection. A coin with a minting error can often be worth significantly more than one that was struck perfectly, sometimes exponentially more. So, what does all of this mean for the 1985 5-cent coin's value today? It's not uncommon to find a 1985 nickel in change, and it might be easy to overlook this coin among others. But remember, its value is not just tied to its age, it's about its condition, rarity, and the potential for unique minting errors. A well-preserved 1985 nickel in uncirculated condition can fetch a higher price, but when it comes to coins with minting errors, the value can skyrocket. The big reveal? If you have a rare 1985 nickel, especially one that's uncirculated or features a minting error, you could be holding on to something worth a jaw-dropping $50,000. That's right, $50,000 for a 5-cent coin. It's incredible to think that a coin which once had a value of just 5 cents could appreciate to such an astounding figure. So, if you have a 1985 nickel, take a close look at it. If it's in mint condition or shows signs of a rare error, you might be sitting on a small fortune. It's amazing how something as small as a nickel can have such a big impact on your collection, or even your wallet. The world of numismatics is full of surprises, and sometimes, the most unassuming coins turn out to be the most valuable. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the United States 5-cent coin from 1985. Remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story can make a huge difference in its value. So, if you come across any 1985 nickels in your collection or during your daily life, make sure to check them carefully. You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Top 4, we're taking a deep dive into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins from the United States, the 5-cent coin from 1973. You may think that a nickel from this era is just another coin that's been circulating for decades, but there's so much more to this particular 1973 5-cent piece. In this video, we'll explore the history, the design, the minting process, and, of course, the impressive value of this coin today. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at what this small nickel could be worth now. To truly understand the significance of the 1973 5-cent coin, we need to go back to the historical context of the United States in the early 1970s. The 1970s were a turbulent yet transformative decade for America. The country was recovering from the social upheavals of the 1960s and adjusting to the political realities of the post-Vietnam era. The economy was going through a period of stagnation, often referred to as stagflation, and inflation rates were rising. In the midst of this, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins as part of the country's regular monetary system, with the 1973 5-cent coin being part of the standard currency used by Americans. In terms of the overall design of U.S. coins, the 1973 5-cent coin was part of a long-standing tradition. The design featured Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, a figure whose image has graced the nickel for decades. This design has been a staple of American numismatics since 1938, when it first appeared on the nickel. The 1973 5-cent piece, like all of the other coins of this period, carried the weight of a national legacy on its small shoulders, but while the design remained consistent, the world around the coin was changing. The 1970s saw significant cultural shifts, as well as advances in technology, which would later affect coin production. Coins like the 1973 nickel were struck using machines that were becoming increasingly sophisticated, allowing for more precise designs and less wear on the coin over time. However, these coins were still circulated widely, and as a result, they didn't always remain in mint condition, which is a critical factor for collectors. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1973 nickel. On the obverse, or front side, we see the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson, which remains one of the most recognized images in U.S. coinage. This portrait was based on a painting by Rembrandt Peale, one of the most renowned portrait artists of the early 19th century. Jefferson is depicted in profile, looking thoughtful and resolute, embodying the values of liberty, democracy, and independence that he championed. The portrait itself has remained unchanged for over 70 years, but it continues to be one of the most beloved representations of any U.S. president. On the reverse side of the coin, we find an image of Monticello, the estate of Thomas Jefferson in Virginia. Monticello was designed by Jefferson himself and is a symbol of his intellect and vision for a new nation. This image has been featured on the nickel since 1938 and is a lasting tribute to Jefferson's architectural achievements. The design of Monticello on the coin is highly detailed, showcasing the elegance and symmetry of the building, and it serves as a reminder of the early foundations of the United States. The 1973 5-cent coin was struck using the same materials as many of its predecessors. The composition of the coin was made up of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which is the same alloy used for the nickel's production for most of the 20th century. The result was a durable coin that could withstand the wear and tear of daily circulation, but it was not immune to the effects of time. In terms of minting, the 1973 nickel was produced in large quantities at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The total mintage of the 1973 5-cent coin was in the billions, making it relatively common at first glance. However, the fact that the coin was widely circulated means that many of these nickels have been worn down by years of use. Most of the 1973 nickels you encounter today will likely show signs of wear, with faded designs, rounded edges, and possibly discoloration. This is why finding one in excellent condition, let alone in uncirculated or mint state, is so important for collectors. A nickel that's in near-perfect or uncirculated condition is incredibly valuable. The rarity of such a coin is what makes it so appealing to numismatists and collectors. A coin that has been carefully preserved and stored properly has a much higher value than one that has been exposed to years of handling and use. These well-preserved coins are highly sought after, and as time goes on, they become rarer and more desirable. Now, let's talk about the real treasure, minting errors. If you're familiar with coin collecting, you know that minting errors can make a coin even more valuable than it would be based on condition alone. These errors can occur during the production process and result in coins with unique characteristics. For example, some 1973 nickels may have been struck with double images, misalignments, or other subtle variations. These coins are highly prized by collectors because they represent mistakes that make the coin unique. If you happen to have one of these error coins, you could be sitting on a small fortune. When it comes to the value of the 1973 5-cent coin, most of these coins are worth only a few cents. After all, they were designed to circulate. However, a well-preserved, uncirculated 1973 nickel could be worth significantly more. If you have one of these coins in mint condition, you could see its value rise considerably. But the real excitement comes with error coins. If you're lucky enough to have a rare 1973 nickel with a minting error, such as a double strike or misaligned design, you might be able to sell it for an incredible sum. The most valuable 1973 nickels can fetch tens of thousands of dollars, especially if they are in pristine condition or exhibit rare minting flaws. In fact, a particularly rare and well-preserved 1973 nickel with an error has been known to sell for an astonishing $57,000, that's right, $57,000 for a coin that was originally worth just 5 cents. It's mind-blowing to think how something as small and simple as a nickel could hold such immense value. So, if you happen to have a 1973 5-cent coin in your collection, or you come across one in your spare change, take a closer look. It might just be a hidden treasure. Top 5 and last coin, we have a special treat for you as we explore the fascinating and often overlooked United States 5-cent coin from 1999. At first glance, it might seem like just another ordinary nickel, but let me tell you, this coin is far from ordinary. Stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much this humble 5-cent coin could be worth today. Prepare to be amazed. Let's set the stage by going back in time to the late 1990s. The United States in 1999 was experiencing a period of significant change. The country was at the tail end of the Clinton administration, and the economy was booming with a strong stock market, low unemployment, and rapid technological advancements. The year 1999 was also marked by the growing influence of the internet, the rise of the tech industry, and the end of the 20th century. However, on a more personal level for millions of Americans, life continued as usual. People were still using coins for their daily transactions, and the 5-cent coin, also known as the nickel, continued to circulate in abundance. Little did anyone know at the time, this seemingly unremarkable nickel from 1999 would become a sought-after collectible many years down the road. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1999 nickel. The nickel has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1866, and throughout its history, it has seen various design changes. By 1999, the nickel had already been in circulation for decades with the same basic design. The front of the 1999 5-cent coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, which has been part of the nickel's design since 1938. This famous portrait of Jefferson was based on a painting by artist Rembrandt Peale. Jefferson is depicted in profile, with a solemn and dignified expression, capturing the essence of a man who played a pivotal role in the founding of the United States. The portrait is a timeless representation of the ideals of liberty and democracy that Jefferson championed throughout his life. On the reverse side of the coin, we see an image of Monticello, Jefferson's beloved home in Virginia. Monticello is not only a symbol of Jefferson's architectural genius, but it also represents his vision for the new American nation. The house was designed by Jefferson himself and stands as a testament to his commitment to beauty, functionality, and intellectual achievement. The detailed depiction of Monticello on the back of the nickel is one of the most recognizable symbols of American architecture. So, what makes the 1999 nickel so unique? While the basic design remained the same as previous years, the coin's value today lies in its condition and rarity. By the time 1999 rolled around, coins had been circulating for a much longer time, and most were worn down from constant handling. However, there was still a small fraction of 1999 nickels that were produced in uncirculated or near-perfect condition. And let me tell you, these coins are in high demand among collectors. Coins that have been well preserved or remain uncirculated are extremely rare and valuable. A coin that has been carefully kept in excellent condition over the years can fetch much higher prices than those that have been in heavy circulation. The 1999 nickel is no exception. A pristine example of this coin can be worth significantly more than its face value, but there's more. Like many other coins, the 1999 5-cent coin could potentially be worth much more if it carries a minting error. Minting errors are an exciting and highly collectible aspect of numismatics. These errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin-making process, resulting in unique and irregular coins. Examples of minting errors include double strikes, off-center strikes, and other imperfections that make the coin one of a kind. These error coins are highly prized by collectors, and a rare error can increase a coin's value exponentially. Imagine discovering that your 1999 nickel has a minting error. Whether it's a double die or some other type of flaw, having a coin like this can make it extremely valuable. In fact, collectors are always on the lookout for such coins, as they provide an opportunity to own a piece of American currency that stands out from the rest. Now, let's talk about the actual value of the 1999 nickel. As mentioned, most of these coins are still in circulation and have little value beyond their 5-cent denomination. However, if you happen to come across a well-preserved, uncirculated 1999 nickel, or even better, one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a hidden treasure. Coins in excellent condition can command a premium, but when it comes to error coins, the price can reach astronomical heights. So, how much can a 1999 5-cent coin be worth today? If you're lucky enough to own a pristine, uncirculated 1999 nickel, it could easily fetch several $100s at auction. But if you're fortunate enough to have a coin with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a staggering $37,000. Yes, you heard that right, $37,000 for a single 5-cent coin. It's incredible to think that a nickel, which was originally worth just 5 cents, could have appreciated so much in value. So, what does this mean for you? If you've been holding on to some old change, or if you happen to come across a 1999 nickel in your spare change, take a moment to examine it closely. Look for any signs of wear, but more importantly, look for any unique features or minting errors that could make it stand out. If you find a nickel in great condition or spot a minting flaw, you could be holding on to a small fortune. In conclusion, the 1999 5-cent coin is much more than just another nickel. With its connection to American history, its enduring design, and its potential for rare errors, this coin has captured the attention of collectors around the world. So, keep an eye out for your own 1999 nickels. You might just have a hidden gem in your possession. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of coin collecting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any future discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.